Hornets fans, this is a message to not only you, but your team, and if you don't like me after this, I can completely understand, but I have to say what I have to say. Charlotte Hornets are bad. They are terrible, and there are so many things that I need to talk about in last night's playing game. I don't even know where I want to start. Honestly, I wasn't even going to talk about this game until I just realized, you know what, I have a lot of things I need to say because some of you guys are so damn delusional. Now, there are some of my subscribers like this one I think named Caesar that's a Hornets fan, and he's not a delusional Hornets fan. He's a pretty well normal dude that knows that his team is an excuse of an organization. I don't even want to do an intro because I have so many things to say, so just of course if you guys leave a like on this and subscribe, I'd very much appreciate it. Since I have a lot of negatives I want to talk about in this video, let's go over the positives. Now last year in the playoffs, well technically the play-in actually, because they weren't even good enough to make the playoffs, the Hornets actually lost to the Pacers in a blowout loss by 30 points. However, 1 year later they lose in the play-in again, but they lose by 28, which we have to look at positives. They only lost by 28. I mean, yeah, they got embarrassed on national television once again, but you know what, that's okay. We're making improvements over here. And now that I have that one positive out of the way, let's get into the many negatives of not only this game but this organization. First off, let's just get into the fact that the intensity was not even there. They played with no intensity whatsoever. They didn't even look like they wanted to be there. Did they not know that this was the final game that they needed to win this, or else they would not be in the playoffs? Like, I have a feeling that they either had no idea or they just didn't care. It's not like you were the Cavs or the Nets where if you lose that game, it's okay because you have one more chance to be the 8th seed. And even if you were the 7th or 8th seed, you did not deserve it whatsoever. Like, even if you were in that opportunity where it's like, you know what, it's okay, we lost this one game, we have one more opportunity, you did not fucking deserve that. You guys played like shit that game. You showed no level of intensity. It, like I said, it didn't even seem like you wanted to be there at all. You guys were the 10th seed for a reason. There were Hornets fans trying to convince me that this team could somehow beat the Hawks, which is okay, that's possible, you know. Then they would go on to be either Cleveland or Brooklyn, which I was like, I don't know about that. And then on the off chance they even made the 8th seed playoffs, they were somehow gonna have a way to beat the Miami Heat. As much as I think Miami has struggled this year, and I honestly do have a little bit of a feeling they might be a fraudulent 1 seed, but I'm sorry, even if they were the most fraudulent team in the NBA, you guys were not going to beat the Miami Heat in a 7-game series. Also, I don't know how true this video is that came out. I obviously can't show it for demonetization reasons, but it's not that hard to find. But a video came out yesterday, or maybe it was today, of LaMelo Ball actually smoking before the game and like smoking a blunt or something like that. Now, the video itself is not fake. That's not what I'm worried about. But the thing is that I don't know if that was actually before the plan. The video could have been from around a month ago and people are just trying to make it seem like it was from yesterday. However, on the off chance that this is true, that he was actually smoking before the game, look, I'm not a fucking D1 athlete. I didn't go to school to study sports medicine or sports science or things of that nature, but I'm pretty sure as someone that has played sports my whole life that you're not supposed to smoke before a game. I'm also sure that you're definitely not supposed to smoke before one of the biggest games of not only your career, but definitely the season. I'm also 1000% sure that you should not be smoking before the game if you are the superstar player and the only reason why this team holds of somewhat value to the NBA. Begging that this is actually not from yesterday and this is just an old video. I'm seriously hoping, because if it is true that this was from yesterday, Charlotte is in a really fucked situation. And since we're talking about the Hornets roster, let's talk about another player, and that's Miles Bridges, who said that he is going to be demanding a maximum $173 million contract. Now, Miles Bridges is a good player. I'm not doubting that. He's definitely improved his game, and at one point you could say he was the most improved player of the year, or at least that of a candidate. So while I'm not doubting his talent, there is one thing that I don't think the Hornets should do, and that's offer a guy a maximum contract. For one, he's not a star player, but essentially you paying him this much money would be you paying him based on potential. He has the potential to be an all-star, but he hasn't done that just yet. You could say Miles Bridges was a borderline all-star this year. However, next season maybe he will be an all-star, but this is maybe. These are hypothetical situations. I've also seen things where players have gotten paid and they just sucked ass afterwards because they didn't care anymore. They got the bag. And when you're on a really shitty team like the Charlotte Hornets, it honestly wouldn't surprise me if he kind of just gave up, because that Hornets organization really has nowhere to go right now that's positive. Now listen, there are some moves the Hornets can make for a starter. That's getting a starting center. They don't have a good starting center, so in free agency they need to do something about that. Also, Gordon Hayward, that might be your final time in a Charlotte Hornets jersey, because I think they need to get rid of Hayward and get rid of that contract overall and try to either put it towards a center or just other assets that the team can use. Now, there was something going on during the season where Hornets fans were saying we need to fire James Borrego, he's holding us back and he's the reason why we're not doing well. And then Isaiah Thomas came on a 10-day contract and they're like, oh, we're winning some games now, we're fine. In fact, Isaiah Thomas was supposed to be one of the biggest reasons why the Hornets were going to do well in the playoffs. However, again, y'all are fucking delusional. I love Isaiah Thomas and I am so happy that he's in the NBA again, and I think he's gonna stay on Charlotte, but he was not gonna be the defining factor, especially when Melo played like shit. In fact, now that I think about it, maybe Melo was high. He played like shit. He was shooting stuff that was like, what the fuck are you doing? And he just showed no reason why he would want to be there. This whole video may seem like I'm just trying to tear down the Charlotte Hornets and I'm trying to make fun of them, because that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Also, like I said, there are ways this team can improve, but it just doesn't look like they're gonna go in that direction. Now, I will say in yesterday's game, the offensive side, it wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. However, Charlotte's defense last night was honestly terrible. And I know them having Mason Plumlee as starting center is not gonna help you guys whatsoever, but like I said, their defense just wasn't well. Not even just with centers, but their guards couldn't guard anyone. And what's so crazy to me is that Trae Young played terrible throughout the whole game. I think he did just as bad as LaMelo did. However, guys like DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella, they went off and had a pretty good game. If Trae Young has a well and efficient game, my question is, do you think that team loses by 50 now? I can only imagine what's happening if everyone on that team is doing well, and the Hornets, no one can really get it together unless your name is PJ Washington. I mean, Miles Bridges, how are you going to ask for a max extension and only score 12 points in 30 minutes plus get ejected and throw your mouthpiece at someone? The whole team played terrible and they got exposed on national television for everyone to see that this team should not have been put in this situation. I think this is also going to show that the play-in is kind of useless, because the only thing you're winning is a first round exit, because when was the last time a team that made the play-in actually did well in the playoffs? Especially with this year, the only team I can think of that maybe it would have been good was Miami playing Brooklyn, and I think Brooklyn would have had a chance. However, I could still see Miami winning that series. However, Brooklyn won, so that can't happen. But even as a Suns fan, we're either playing the Pelicans or the Clippers, and I'm not worried about either one of them knocking us out with the first round. I also think it's unfair that a team can be the 7th and 8th seed and they're not even guaranteed to make the playoffs. I feel like if you're the 7th and 8th seed, you should make the playoffs regardless, because if you're a 9 and 10 seed, you don't deserve that extra opportunity. For example, this Lakers team this year was not going to make the regular playoffs. They had to make the play-in. There was no chance whatsoever. Even if they would have went undefeated to end off the year, they could not make the playoffs. They were so damn far. So why are we making it where these other teams have opportunities and it's just for, I guess, extra games? That was a great win in basketball. Yeah, a 9 seed ended up making the 8th seed, but you guys are a first round exit. But yeah, I guess just to end this off, congratulations to the Atlanta Hawks for winning your game and moving on to play the Cleveland Cavaliers. I hope you guys win. I like Atlanta. I like Trae Young. Charlotte, get your head out of your fucking ass and actually start playing like you care about this team and you actually want to do something in the postseason, because I think your fans are sick of it. Also, just note that with the way this season ended, I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte had a lot of bad things going on with them. So Charlotte, free agency for you guys could not be that good of a thing this year, but I guess we're gonna have to wait.